In a couple of videos on drivers for servers, I'm going to explore, well, drivers for servers. Let's first talk about what devices are, because sometimes we think of devices as things like keyboards, mice, scanners, all of these things outside the computers, but devices are also inside computers. Pretty much anything outside the CPU, memory sticks, modems and network cards, even the bus chips themselves, all of the things inside the computer are all things that require device drivers. So what do we mean by device drivers? Well, these are extensions to the kernel itself. You see, the operating system kernel is that part of the operating system that interfaces and interacts with hardware. Well, as we add hardware, that kernel may not know how to interact with that new hardware. And so it requires these extensions, so to speak, so it knows how to interact with the hardware. For example, if I put on a printer and that printer has faxing capabilities and scanning capabilities, the operating system kernel itself may not know about that particular printer, and so it has to have extra software in order to know about it. That's where drivers come into play. Driver files themselves, what are they? Well, these files typically are .sys. We just call them sys files. However, they are not always sys files. They can also be .dll files. They can come in .exe files. There are also other associated files that come along with them. .cat files are files associated with the digital signatures of drivers, and we'll talk about signature files later because there are different ways that we can do digital signatures with them. And then there are INF files, which have information about how to install drivers. Those are the installation files that are associated with drivers. So any number of them, but .sys files are by far the most common. Now, where are these drivers located on a system? I'm going to go into this server, and let's open up this server and log on. This is a server 2019. Server Manager always comes up when we start a Windows server. And let's go ahead and open up the Windows Explorer. We'll go to this PC, C, Windows, System 32. And we're looking for a folder called Drivers. And here you see all those sys files associated with the drivers. Those are the sys files we've been talking about. Now, there's also another folder here called Driver Store. And if we open up the Driver Store, we see a folder called File Repository. These are a bunch of generic drivers that are built into Windows, and these are ones that are ready to install for generic devices, so that if I just have a device that Microsoft has already provided a driver for, it may allow that device to just start working. It may not be the best driver for it, but allows at least functionality to begin. For example, USB ports. I want those USB ports to just begin working without having to install drivers whenever I start the machine up and add a new USB port. Or add a mouse. I don't want that. I don't want to have to install a driver every time I add a mouse to the machine. So this gives us quite a bit of plug and play functionality.